What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to part 2 of the LS build for the Volvo 240. If you missed part 1, go check it out. It's already uploaded on my channel. We started disassembling this 5.3 liter LS iron block. We got all the accessories off, the top off. In today's episode, we're going to be diving deeper into it. Hopefully, we're going to get the heads off, we're going to get the exhaust off, and we're pretty much just going to get it down to a bare block and have all of our parts laid out. So we're gonna get right into it. I don't have much more information besides we're gonna keep digging into this thing. And we're gonna look at all the wear, see what needs to be replaced, see what we can get away with reusing. Yeah, that's about all I got. Subscribe to the channel, interact with it, like, comment, do all the good stuff. Let's get into it. I don't have much to say. First thing we're gonna tackle on the motor is getting the exhaust off, headers on both sides. The reason that I have no idea how long it's going to take is because all of the bolts are extremely rusted to the point where they're right in between a 9 and 10 millimeter, and then most of them are broken off or missing. So I have no idea how long it's going to take. It's either going to be super quick or it's going to take a couple hours. So hopefully we can get it done quickly and continue moving forward with getting the heads and everything else off of this motor.
One eternity later.
It ended up taking so many hours to get the exhaust off that it is a whole another day. These took maybe 5 hours to get off. I don't want to talk about it. We're gonna move on. Valve covers are coming up next, and we'll start getting out some of the internals. First inspection of the valve train, and everything looks in place, not loose, very clean. The inside of this head is very clean, which I'm glad to see. We're not going to be able to see any of the wear patterns till we get in between these rockers and valve springs and the push rods and the rockers as well. So we'll take all these off, look for any heat or abnormal wear, but I'm happy with how things are going so far. And then as well as the inside of the valve cover, very clean. Little bits of dirt. I believe that's just from this engine from sitting. None of this looks like metal. It looks just like bird shit. So should be good. We're gonna keep going, get these rockers off. I'm only gonna film one side. Everything that I say I'm doing in the video, I'm also gonna do to the other side at the same time. So next step for the video is gonna be removing these rockers and getting everything out. So I've just taken off the first rocker and push rod, and just going into this, if I say anything wrong or label anything wrong, correct me in the comments, please. It's the best way for me to learn. But just looking at it, everything looks extremely clean. There seems to be no wear on the valve seat, I believe is what it's called. There is no wear here. It looks super clean. And then looking at the push rod itself, this was the top of the push rod. I see no abnormal wear, super clean. Same for the bottom. There are some rings on the bottom push rod, if you can see that. I don't believe that's a bad indicator, but if someone wants to let me know in the comments, I'd love to know. I'm pretty sure that bottom circle, or the circle closest to the tip, is just from the lifter. But I don't think that's anything bad or negative. I will be replacing all this stuff anyways, so it just being clean just shows that the engine was either well taken care of or not super abused or had any issues with it. And again, looking at the rocker, this looks super clean. It looks like there's a little bit of wear there on the left. Let me know in the comments if that's anything bad, but I think that's just from the motor sitting for a while. And then the same on the seats. It looks super clean, super polished. Again, nothing abnormal, just maybe a little bit of very light surface rust just because it's been sitting. So thus far, just off the first one, everything looks super clean. I'm gonna go through all of the rest of them, get them all off and laid out, and we will see how the health of all of them are. Top half of the valve train is out. Everything is still looking super clean. All of these tops look super, super polished. Again, no scarring, no overheating, nothing of the sort. And then I have all of the rockers, all the push rods, and I don't know what this piece is called. I'm assuming it's just like the rocker seat. Everything pulled out, every single bolt cracked evenly and loosened evenly, which is awesome. So the head is off, everything looks relatively good. On the valve side, they all look even, no cracks, no splinters, no anything of the sort. Cylinders 3 and 5 did have a little bit of water in them, so there is some surface rust on the cylinders, but once we get the bottom end out, all the pistons and rods, we'll be able to get that all knocked down and see if it's actually going to be a problem or not. I don't think it is. It looks like cylinder 7 got quite a bit of rust on there too. We'll see. I'm not sure if these are going to need to be bored, but we'll find out. So yeah, overall, first head is off. Everything looks pretty good. Next, I'm going to take out the lifter trays and the lifters, and we'll see if they have any abnormal wear or if the wear is as everything else has been and pretty clean. So all 8 lifters are out on the odd side of the engine, and they all look super, super, super clean except for 2 of them. One has this minor scoring line right there, and on cylinder 7, I don't know if you can see them, there are a few little scoring lines, but overall they look super clean. I'm gonna end up throwing these in the bag. Again, if they're worth anything, let me know. If not, I'll just throw them away. But I end up getting LS7 lifters for the motor, so these are gonna be replaced anyway, so I'm not worried about keeping them in order, but they look super, super good. The valleys were super clean. The plastic wasn't cracked or broken. None of the bolts came out weird. So internally, this motor seems super, super sound. At least the valve train does. So next thing I'm going to do is exactly what I did. I'm not going to film it, but exact same thing to this head. And we're going to take off the valley cover and the knock sensors and make sure it's all clean and good under there. As you saw, the first knock sensor came out super easily, had no issues, popped right out, no problem. The second knock sensor, however, had clearly at some point been filled with rainwater. It was super, super, super rusty, and there were a bunch of calcium deposits just sitting in there, lots of sand and dirt. So this thing was completely rounded over. I did my best to slide a smaller socket over it, use a breaker bar, do everything I could, but the bolt of the knock sensor at this point is pretty much just a circle. So off camera, I plan on drilling out the knock sensor and pretty much just destroying it to get it out of there. And then once we get that valley cover off, I'll clean it up and make sure those threads are good. Even though I do not plan on using them for the carb setup, I'll probably get a block off plate for the oil valley, but just to make sure it's nice and clean in there. So I didn't do any of that on camera. I'm not gonna show any of the drilling it out. It's just something I'm gonna do after, but you'll notice for the rest of the video the valley cover stays on because I could not get that knock sensor out. Nevertheless, we're going to keep moving forward, get the valley cover bolts off just to get them out of the way, and keep moving on to getting the rest of this engine disassembled. So it wasn't. That's why I got old Biggie over there sitting lonely. Yeah, so my thing is
The next day.
We're going to work on getting this pulley off. I just bought a puller from Harbor Freight right over there. And we're gonna work on getting this whole plate off, the timing gear, the camshaft, and everything on the front of the engine, just for now until I can figure out what to do about that guy right there. The Harbor Freight puller I bought came in a set of 3, and the one you're seeing now is the biggest one because one of the smaller ones I tried to use first actually snapped on me. This pulley was on there so tight. I was using every ounce of energy I had in my body to get this thing off, and I was absolutely terrified that this bigger one was going to snap after the first one had. I really wish I got it on video because it was a funny clip to see because it literally exploded. But yeah, this thing was an absolute pain in the ass to get off, but in the end we were able to get it with this puller. So if you're ever doing this, use the biggest puller you have because you will either end up snapping one, and these things get super, super tight. I feel like it shouldn't have been that seized, but mine was, so take precautions if you're ever doing this yourself. Oh, damn. Holy shit. Next few items on the list were to remove the timing chain cover, pull off the oil pan baffle, the oil pickup tube, and the oil pump. All of these items were super easy, just a bunch of 10mm bolts in very obvious places, so they came off super quickly and super easily. Next on the list of things to remove is the upper timing gear along with the timing chain. Again, another 3 10mm bolts, and that pops off super easily. Right underneath those items is the cam cover plate, I believe it's called. And again, another 4 10mm bolts, came off super easy. And this plate also has a seal for one of the oil galleries underneath. Then last thing to do is we pulled out the crankshaft, and this is super simple. Wiggle it back and forth a little bit and rotate as you go. Just be careful not to score any of the bearings on your way out, and that is super simple to remove. Boom! With the timing cover, timing chain, camshaft, and I took the oil pan off camera just because I forgot to press record, honestly. But with all those parts off, we're now ready to start taking out the pistons and rods. I've already numbered them 1 through 8 and put an arrow on them to signify the direction that they were sitting in, because we are going to be using the original rods and pistons, assuming that they are in good condition, which I have no reason to believe that they're not. So I'm going to get those out right now, and I will set them in a box so we can keep track of them for later. Up until this point in the build, everything that I've done in my mechanical experience has been familiar. I've done oil pumps, I've done timing chains, timing belts, removed heads, done head gaskets, but I've never actually taken off or out any pistons / rods or crankshafts with the intention of reusing them and the block. So being that it was my first time getting this far into an engine, I was very cautious with making sure I didn't score any of the cylinder walls pulling the pistons on the way out. I double checked to make sure all the bearings were in good condition, showing no signs of abnormal wear or poor maintenance on this engine. And from what I've learned this far, everything looks super clean and came out super smoothly. Pistons are all out, all 8 of them are gone. So next step is going to be loosening these caps, these main caps, and getting the crankshaft out. For now, I'm just going to wrap it in saran wrap and set it off to the side so it doesn't rust. And I might give it another coat of WD-40 just to make sure it's all oiled up, because I'm not going to probably be messing with it until this thing's ready to go back together. And I've ordered bearings and piston rings and done a thorough inspection of everything to make sure I have ordered what I need ordered. So yeah, that's the next step. Get this out and we'll keep chugging along. When removing these caps, I made sure to crack all of the nuts and bolts first, then back them out the rest of the way by hand. This is important because it's super easy to make sure that they all crack evenly and all loosen out by hand the same way with the same amount of resistance. This shows that there was no uneven heating or any abnormal wear in the engine throughout its lifespan, and this passed the test with flying colors. They all came out super easily, cracked the exact same with the exact amount of force, and backed out super easily. One thing I did forget to do was remove the rear main seal plate, but that was just a few 10mm bolts. Popped it off super quickly and got it out the way. Last thing to do before pulling these caps off was to pull the 10mm bolts, which go through the outside of the block into the caps and hold them in just a little more securely. 9 of them came out super easily, no problems at all, but one of them on the left side of the engine block, as it is on the screen right now, was extremely rounded over and extremely rusty. I'm assuming just from rainwater and dirt and debris sitting in there. So what I had to do was hammer on a 9mm socket, and I was able to back it off using that. So I will definitely have to replace all of those bolts, which I believe you're meant to anyways. After that, pulling off the main caps was a breeze. As you see, all I used was a 1/2-inch extension to pry under the prying spots on the left and right, popped them off. Then I just did a quick visual inspection of all of the journals on the crankshaft just to make sure there were no scratches or discoloring, which there were not. I feel like I've said this 3 times already, but everything looks super clean. So I pulled it out very slowly, very carefully, and put it to the side to be saran wrapped. So that's going to be a wrap to part 2 of the LS build for the Volvo 240. It's been a couple months actually to date of when I'm recording this right now, since I filmed that the entirety of this video. I've just kind of been sitting on it, being lazy about posting it. But I'm back at college now, and the Volvo videos are going to slow down, but you will see in the next video and actually upcoming videos, I recently acquired a new car, which I'm super excited about. So definitely stay tuned if you're sticking around. Just wait for the next videos. I'm super excited to start working on it. I haven't done anything to it. I haven't even cleaned it yet, so I'm excited to start doing all that for the videos. But yeah, thank you so much for watching part 2 of the LS build. I'm excited to keep the ball rolling as time goes on, save up some money and buy all the new parts. And whenever I have time to go back home and keep working on it, I 100% will, and I will post videos and update you guys. But yeah, that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, as always. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.